Starmine.
Hello and welcome back to the StarminePodcast after a few weeks break caused by both scheduling problems, dealing with out-of-state travel and sickness and other such things. We finally got some time. We're going to do something a little different today because of, once again, scheduling problems. So with me right now is John. I'm David, of course, but John?
Hi.
Also, Error 1355. So, John, it's been a while since we podcasted. What's the short list of things you've been doing since then?
Well, I actually just beat Watchdogs yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I took my sweet-ass time with that.
Nice. Well, let me ask this first. Do you recommend it to someone?
It is fine. It is an entirely competent game. Nothing about it was really offensive. The mini games were kind of boring, but it's an open world game, so that's kind of
Par for the course.
Yeah. So, I don't know. The ending was kind of hit or miss on me. I'm not gonna, of course, spoil it, but it felt like they really missed an opportunity with the middle of the game. It kind of ramps up learning the environment, then it goes to kind of you have a base, and then immediately goes into the end.
That's kind of dumb that they build you up to a base and then just kind of end it.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of the base then?
It looks fancy. It's a cool idea, but yeah, it concludes. There's definitely a hint towards a new one, but it's Ubisoft. Of course, it's going to happen. But yeah, I was satisfied with the ending. The plot, of course, they did some story beats that went for emotion, but it didn't really work because I didn't care about any of the characters.
That sounds like a major issue.
Yeah, the main character is I don't like him, but I think I'm supposed to not like him. But I don't think that I was supposed to not like him this much.
Yeah, I'm guessing what they're trying for is sort of like the morally kind of messed up anti-hero, sort of like the Punisher, just with a dumb hat and sunglasses. And what they ended up with was just some homicidal maniac who thinks he's doing good. So, Dexter. But Dexter had character, of course, so never mind.
Mm-hmm. It felt a lot of a game that they had huge intentions for, and then kind of scaled back a little bit in length. But I don't know if I wanted it to be longer.
Well, I mean, if they'd improved the game, you probably would have, but, you know.
But yeah, I mean, I don't regret it. I am glad I just stopped doing the side stuff and did all story. That the mission quality between the two are, like, side missions, just cookie cut or do the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
Story missions are at least unique, but it started to also get into the same, do the same stuff. Like, have a camera and then navigate someone through, people walking around. Sometimes you can distract them to make them look the other way.
Yeah. So it got into... I know open world, we've talked about open world, of course, but open world games, I seem to think at least, get sort of trapped within their walls of gameplay. Like they have a certain set of things that you can do, and that's fine, but the amount of times you do them is insane, because open world games are usually pretty long because they're open world and you can kind of do whatever you want,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, the first few times you did those, though, I'm guessing they were pretty fun. It was kind of like a new sort of thing of, oh, that's interesting and new.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't bad. One was block. Pretty much, there's a person's going through a route, you take care of them by blowing them up or killing them or whatever. And then I found out that you can just park your car in the road, and when they drive to it, since they're not, like, triggered, they'll just stop. And then since I'm hiding behind the car, I pull out a grenade launcher, and then just shoot the grenade launcher at the car, and then drive away.
Well, that's a effective strategy, I guess.
Yeah. But I imagine you would eventually learn, hey, this guy who's stopping in the middle of the road is just going to shoot a rocket launcher at me, pretty much, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, there's no one around to tell the tale. You did kill everybody in the area.
Well, it was like intersections in like a middle of downtown Chicago, which I also don't really like as aspect, because everyone seems to know who you are at one point, but no one can catch you.
Even though you live at home, pretty much.
Like, as you're walking around, you know, people go, oh, that's the vigilante. I'm like, yeah.
That guy in that signature hat and signature glasses.
You know, they'll pull out a camera and take a photo of you. And you're just like, okay. You know, the entire police force and 2 gangs are after me, but they can't find me. But this lady just walking by is just taking photos of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
See, at least with something like Saints Row, like, everyone started cheering for you because they knew who you were, but then you could, you know, suplex people. But that was kind of a silly sort of, you were trying to just be famous sort of thing, you know, and this is, you're out for justice and, you know, the American way or whatever, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. They gave a really, like, dumb choice at the end. I don't know if they could have made it any less meaningful to the story as they could. Maybe it'll count in the sequel, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I doubt it, because it's such a... To make it meaningful in the sequel, they would have to make 2 separate storylines, I think.
Oh, okay.
So... Or just make it a side character, side mission thing, and it's... Either way, who cares? It wasn't worth the build-up.
So that's your John Sherman wasn't worth the build-up. Watchdogs.
Yeah, but I have no regrets playing it. Skip the story, skip the side mission stuff. There's an exclusive bit, like they count it as an hour of exclusive content, which is just the side missions but longer.
Wow, wow.
I was not. I saved it towards the end of the game to do it. I regretted that decision.
Wow, that's kind of screwed up, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's a bit of story to it more than the original side missions, but it wasn't fun.
Yeah. Cool. And I'm guessing you've been playing a crap load of Hearthstone as well.
Yeah, nothing too different there. They finally got that single player mode out. I don't know if that was out since the last time we podcasted.
You probably would have mentioned something. I don't remember you mentioning it.
All right, yeah. So they have it based off of the, I guess, Naxxramas and World of Warcraft. I've never went raiding in that. I got to level 18 and then quit playing because I didn't like it. And but apparently it's modeled exactly after a boss raid in that game. All the same bosses and stuff, and it's like you fight against AI that has unique advantages. They're cheating pretty much, but they have like hero powers where it like destroys all your cards or reverses the HP and attack of all cards every turn.
Wow.
And, yeah, so it's fun. It unlocks a lot of cards that really changed up a lot of people's decks. I wish it was more. It's already over. I already finished it all except for the heroic versions, which I don't know. Those don't look fun. They're cheating, but even more cheating.
Yeah. The difficulty in something like a card game is basically just have to make a better deck, and if you get someone who's better at making decks than you, like probably Wizards of the Coast is worse at making decks than some of the high level Magic the Gathering players, So they probably just figured, we'll just cheat instead, which is kind of a cop out, but I guess I can see why they did it.
Yeah, I mean, none of it felt like it was cheapening. Cheapened on what you would expect. It made sense. It's just I wish there was a little more. It felt like a lot of build up in it. A lot of those bosses, at least on the easy difficulty, I beat on the first try.
Mm-hmm.
Without editing my deck. The heroic decks, apparently, you have to have like a special customized deck. I tried one, and they only give you 9 deck slots, and there's 9 classes. So I make a deck for each class.
Yeah. In
order to make a deck for heroic Hearthstone, I'd have to erase one of my decks for one of my classes and make a specialized deck for that mode. I don't like that.
Man, you have problems.
I'm not the only one who has this problem, but maybe...
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if you ask me, the idea being that, like, you only have 9 slots, they should have made it 10 if there's 9 classes, so you can do that, so you can have your, 9, 1 for each class, and then 1 extra one if you need it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I had 1 extra, I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much, I made a little bit more of a dent in the Ace Attorney game. Got to the last case. Don't know anything about it yet. And
cool.
I finally got to the Elite Four in Pokemon Y. Only a year after it came out.
Well, I mean, it's not like you have a lot of time for handhelds or anything, working and all that.
Yeah. I mean, I could play it while I'm at home, but I don't know.
What's the point of it then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an original DS still. Hell, I still have my original brick Game Boy, but I haven't touched those things in years because I haven't, like, taken car trips where I'm not driving in, like, years.
Yeah. And the one time when we drove down to Boston, it didn't seem... We were all busy talking, and wasn't secluded in a game.
Yeah, it wasn't a family situation. I was driving with friends.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like that. With my family we used to drive to Florida, which is 14 hours. That's at least. And so that I would bring my Game Boy because it's a lot of time to do anything with your family.
Mm-hmm.
I'd find time there, but I still want to beat Boktai. Hell, I've never beaten Boktai. I've owned that thing for probably 15 years now, and I still haven't beaten it.
Has it really been that long?
I think so. I mean, it's Game Boy Advance, so I'm not sure, but oh well.
Yeah, nothing too exciting after that.
Okay.
I wonder if I should beat Assassin's Creed or play something else. I don't know. I don't care about Assassin's Creed anymore. That's what I've decided. I just flat out don't care.
Yeah, I was never a huge fan of Assassin's. I played the first 2, and I got to Brotherhood, and people say Brotherhood is good, but I just, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly how I feel. I just don't care about it. Haven't for a long time.
They're making 2 now, so I'm going to be even further behind the story. The story's getting more crazy. I don't know. I mean, there's an Easter egg in both Assassin's Creed 4 and Watchdogs that reference each other's game, and a lot of people are freaking out, being like, "Oh, it's the same universe." If they made it the same universe, I'm just gonna burn all my Assassin's Creed games and my Watchdog game. Just
I mean, we're talking about having what is his name, Aiden Pierce.
Aiden Pierce. Yep.
Yep. Having generic white dude alongside other generic white dude. I mean, that'd be kind of interesting. Well, I guess generic white dude number 1 is dead, right? Desmond.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Desmond's dead. Well, I mean, having Aiden Pierce as like a sort of an assassin, or like at least go up against the Templars wouldn't be terrible. If they want to have like one secret mission somewhere that's like you have to take out a Templar thing and like destroy an Animus or something like that, it'd be kind of interesting,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, if they want to make a universe, they can capitalize on it, I guess.
I mean, it depends on how they would do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, execution's everything, that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I can imagine it being kind of interesting if just suddenly out of nowhere it's the same. It's no longer Watch Dogs, it's Assassin's Creed. But I also think it pissed more people off than anything.
Yeah, I mean, they're two different enough worlds is the problem. Like, at least technologically, like, none of that stuff is really in Assassin's Creed, like the holograms or anything like that.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Well, as for me, we talked about it last time at least, but I finally finished Metal Gear Solid 4 after
Really?
all these years. I finally beat it. I beat it before around when it happens. So
Yeah, you got that going for you.
yeah. So that's good. I thought it was fun. I didn't like the Shadow Moses chapter as much as I thought I would.
Yeah, playing it wasn't that fun. I didn't like all those robots just being everywhere.
Yeah, nothing you can do about them too. That's kind of annoying. Like they just keep showing up.
Yeah, because I mean, for that you kind of just want to look around and see what's different and all up res and everything.
Yeah,
entirely redone.
Yep. But I liked the third act. Raging Raven was a fun fight. The chase scene was kind of dumb because it was just kind of like, hey, you're gonna sit here and do nothing for. Well, you're gonna be very very like stealthy and kind of quiet for how long here, and then now you're going to be in a crazy. It was just the tonal shift of it was just kind of a little too much for me.
I remember I tried to replay the game, and when I got to Act 3, I quit.
Really?
I couldn't replay it. It was just so boring.
I liked the tailing part. The tailing part was fine. Just because I was just going around tranking everybody. Like, when he puts on the bicycle helmet and dresses up the PNC guard, like, he was walking by himself by the end of it. Like, he like, turned around, he's like, oh, everyone's gone, alright,
Uh-huh.
But, I mean, that part was fine. The Raging Raven boss fight was fine. But other than that, like, I didn't like the chase scene. I thought it was kind of dumb.
Oh, I'm thinking back. I didn't even remember that part for the most. Yeah, I didn't like it. It was all one kind of like two set pieces in a row.
Yeah. It was two very different set pieces, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that had been at the end of, like, Chapter 2... Well, I mean, you kind of have it at the end of Chapter 2. Maybe Chapter 1, like, you get on a motorcycle or something, and then you end up in a chase scene. But, there was build-up to it, and it was just kind of like, something's happening now, go! But, yeah, that was a good one. I think I liked 1 and 2 really a lot, just because it was a lot of, like, classic sort of Metal Gear Solid. I liked the tracking at the end of 2. That was really cool. Like, it was just sort of, it was kind of, there wasn't too much going on with it, but it was kind of different. That it was sort of like a brain, like a puzzle almost. I mean, it was a step to something that could be better, I guess is the way I'll put it. Because it was kind of, like, this is a really great idea, but it wasn't really, like, a lot of the tricks, quote-unquote, are very, very obvious,
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, there's a bra on the wall. Hey, look at that clearly obvious guy with the sniper rifle. Just stuff like that. But,
yeah.
I mean, fun game. I liked the ending a lot better the second time. Wasn't as obviously emotional, because I knew Snake wasn't dead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was that. But yeah. Overall, 7 out of 10. Still better than God Hand.
Not 0?
No,
No.
Shut up.
Everything returns to 0.
Yeah, I know. Everything returns to 0. Yeah.
You should play Peace Walker. Are you in the middle of that, or?
No, I'm in the middle of Revengeance. Well, I'm near the end of Revengeance right. At least what I think is the end of Revengeance right now. Spoilers for Revengeance a little bit if anyone cares, but I'm at the boss, the giant. I just finished the giant spider robot with the senator, and presumably the senator is the last boss, because there's like no one else in the bad guys, and they'd have to, you'd have to introduce a whole new character and then kill him, and that's not really the style,
Mm-hmm.
The Jetstream Sam fight was a little underwhelming.
The build-up was good, but the actual...
The actual fight was just kind of it was about the same kind of fight they had with Blade Wolf. You know, it was a similar sort of fight. What's the... Monsoon was really cool. I liked him. Just the design, like all the body parts coming apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to think back of who was Monsoon and...
Yeah, Minstrel's the one with the bunch of arms. She was pretty cool too, but she was just, she was just kind of like a sort of vanilla boss. You know, there wasn't really too much going on with her except for like all the little scout things walking around everywhere. But Sundowner was pretty cool too. Using the slowdown, like the free cut mode as like a puzzle. That was pretty cool. I like that a whole lot. That was, I just finished that like an hour or two ago, but you know, it was really cool. I liked the idea of that. Yeah, I've got parrying down pretty well, obviously, since I've gotten this far in the game, but I'm out of health items. I'm like at 40% health, and I've just started the fight with the Senator, and I'm just like, oh god, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, that was a whole lot of pattern learning for me. Yeah. I played it on normal. I did not go to easy at any point. I don't know if you can even swap difficulties halfway through, but
yeah, I don't know.
I normally would play a Metal Gear game on easy first because I was only really in it for the story.
Mm-hmm.
This one I decided not to, and I did not regret it, but I probably spent a good 2 hours on that last boss.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Though I don't play many action games, so I don't know, how.
Yeah. How long did it take you to beat Jetstream Sam?
That one I think took about 2 or 3 tries. If I think back, it didn't take as long. I can say that.
Yeah. How about Sundowner?
That one I think I failed once or twice before I really understood the puzzle part of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm probably a little better than you just because of having played Bayonetta and God Hand and Beautiful Joe and all those kinds of things. But yeah, I'll probably... I'm going to at least die this one time. I don't see myself surviving on 40% health for the entire last boss fight. But yeah, I guess since we're talking about boss fights, the ending boss, Metal Gear Solid, of course, being the Liquid fight, the Liquid Ocelot fight. Liquid Ocelot is a punk bitch, and that like haymaker punch that's like unavoidable is bullshit. It is total and complete bullshit.
I wanted to replay that game just to get to that boss fight because I remember really loving it.
Yeah.
But I think we played on easy.
The rest, yeah. The rest of it, fine. The rest of it's fantastic. The rest of it is as close to like a cinematic fist fight as you're gonna get. But fuck that haymaker punch. It's super duper overpowered and like stupidly overpowered. I hate it.
Yeah. Metal Gear Solid 4, the ending of it seems to just build entirely up to his idea of Peace Walker and what appears to be happening in
Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain.
Yep.
I'm finally making my way through the rest of the current Metal Gear Solids. I'll probably wait a little bit before I get a PS4, so I'll just probably get Phantom Pain and Ground Zeroes at the same time. I did watch a video of Deja Vu, which was really kind of cool. I liked the idea of it.
I've yet to play it.
Do you have any idea what the premise is?
No, actually, I have none.
I'll tell you what the premise is because it doesn't spoil anything. But you recreate scenes from the Metal Gear Solid games.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then they have a trivia thing at the end, and I was able to get every single question right, and I promise I'm not lying. Like I would stop it beforehand, but I usually didn't have to with the guy playing it. But I got them all right except for what PAL stood for, because who the fuck remembers what PAL stands for?
Oh, PAL key.
Yeah, it's not personal area LAN. That's the That's the key cards. Yeah, I don't even remember what it is now. Like, that was the only one I didn't know, though.
I don't remember.
Permissive action link. That's what it is.
Not even anywhere near the tip of my tongue on that one.
Yeah, exactly. It's like something that no one. It's probably mentioned in like a codec conversation with someone. You know, like just like offhandedly. But the only other one that I was kind of iffy on was the what caliber of gun did Snake try to give Meryl in Metal Gear Solid 1, and I wasn't sure whether the SOCOM was a 45 or a 40, but the answers were like 38 and like 40 and like 22, and I was like, oh well, then I'm going to 45, so it's 40. But yeah, it looks really, really cool. I also watched the Jamais Vu a little bit, not as much. I didn't care about it as much. But you get to ninja run in that, so that's kind of cool.
Okay.
But yeah, all of it's really, really cool. It seems really cool.
I need to actually finish Ground Zeroes.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll probably get to that eventually. I still have your PSP, but I don't really have time with playing Revengeance and working and all that to actually play Acid, Metal Gear Acid. Yeah. But I kind of wanted to. I'm not sure, though. I don't really get it.
It's fun. It takes a bit to learn, though, if I remember.
Yeah, that was my problem. Like, just the first area, like, I was having some major issues, like, figuring out how everything worked and, like, the timing of everything and, like, the cost system that they have. But, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, once I beat Revengeance, I'll probably play Peace Walker, and then I'll probably take a bit of a break, as I said, until I can reasonably afford a PS4, and probably by then. When does Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain come out?
There's no release date, but it's assumed either, like, from spring of 2015 to November 2015.
Okay, that's a reasonable amount of time to finish Peace Walker and Revengeance. And
I mean, they could surprise us all and be like, it's coming out in November this year.
Coming out in November.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. They're probably not done with it by now. I mean, they are working off the Fox engine, which is already completed. But you know how engines make development less timely. But if they're putting as much as they're probably putting in there, yeah, it's going to be a while.
I'm excited that it's coming to PC.
Yeah, it's coming to PC. You said something that, like, I kind of was thinking about. It's kind of amazing that you're right. Like, I wonder if there's going to be a big modding community for Metal Gear Solid 5. I also wonder what Kojima's going to think of it. Kojima's going to think of it. Like he's historically not liked people touching his masterpieces.
Yeah.
So is that going to, be problematic?
Yeah, because I mean, I assure you that people are going to mod it regardless if they make tools for it or not.
Yeah, Quiet's gonna have a naked mod. Not too much to do on that one, probably.
Every time someone mentions that, I get sad on the inside. Just
yeah.
You know what? Let's take it off PC. Cancel it.
Dear Hideo Kojima, please take Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain off PC. We're already having enough problems convincing people that it's not an awful, awful thing with how you've already designed Quiet, and now we're going to have naked mods for Quiet. What are you thinking? I mean, it's what happens, Mm-hmm. There's I'm pretty sure there's probably already fan art of her naked out there.
Probably.
So,
I mean, I could probably find it right now, but I don't want to.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was official art of Snipper Wolf topless, so I mean, it's not a far stretch from what's been there in the past.
Yeah. I mean, I was about to say it's tasteful, but I'm like, I mean, it's not like porn, but it's not really... It has no purpose of existing like that.
It seems like... Yeah, I mean, like, it's not like she gets topless in the game. unless there's like a hidden thing in there, like how many years later. But I imagine someone's just dissected that game over and over again and not found it. But yeah, I mean, it seems. I mean, it's not like gratuitous. She's not like bending over, in front of you or anything like that. But it's definitely unnecessary.
Yeah.
So well. Is your time up?
That's about it.
All right. What are you actually going to do? Something for GameFAQs, you said?
Yeah, GameFAQs is having a fantasy football draft.
Oh.
It's not a huge thing, but it's also community stuff.
All right, man.
It was scheduled well before.
Yeah,
this
I
happened,
know.
so.
I know. That was when we were scheduling this. I knew we were going to have limited time. Nick got held back with work, so that's why we're doing this fancy 2-part episode.
He needs to quit his job.
He needs to do something. I don't know.
Just quit his job. Full-time podcasting.
Full-time podcasting. Yeah, that's going to work out with our 15 listeners.
Hey, you know what? If they all donated $500,000, we'd be fine.
Yes, I imagine if we had one listener and they donated $500,000, we'd all be fine.
Why limit there?
Yeah,
Stretch goals.
Stretch goals. Another episode at $600,000.
Yep.
If we hit 1 million, we'll do 3 more episodes.
I've seen Kickstarters where people are like, help me build a YouTube channel where I let's play games. I need $600 to build a computer to do this. I'm like, yeah, you're going to be successful by not even having a computer.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Anyways.
Is there anything you want to plug or recommend to people before you go?
No.
No?
Nothing off the top of my head.
Nothing off the top of your head, says John. Okay.
Yep.
All right, man. Well,
I need to plan this out in the future. This happens every week, or every podcast.
Every podcast, because it's hardly weekly.
But yeah.
All right. We'll be right back with Nick, I guess.
All right.
Say goodbye to the kids, John.
Goodbye, kids? And other people?
Welcome back. This is going to be part 2 of the podcast this week. Right now I'm here with Nick. Say hi to the kids, Nick.
Hey, what's up?
We're back once again after a little bit of a hiatus. So let's dive right in. Nick, what have you been doing since, the short list of things you've been doing since the end of things here?
Oh, man. Everything from PT to Ocarina of Time to more Metal Gear and The Last of Us Remastered and more Dark Souls and more Deus Ex and more all sorts of stuff.
You've had a rich field of video gaming, haven't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
I've been broadening my horizons.
Well, how far have you gotten in Ocarina of Time?
I have one dungeon left, just the Spirit Temple. That's it.
Oh boy, almost there.
Yeah.
Still liking it a whole lot?
Yeah, very much. It's just that I just need to pick it up more often. That was really my problem. I kept getting distracted by other games. But now I'm so close to the end, I'm like, this is the week that I'm going to finish it.
Cool. What about Deus Ex?
I'm still working on that. I'm just taking my time with that one. It's really just one of those games I'm like, I feel like playing it some more. Because it sucks you in no matter what. It doesn't matter when you pick it up or how long you've taken a break from it. It's one of those games you can pick right back up, which is nice.
That's good.
I have no idea how far I am in it. Like, I'm guessing I'm like at the very end of like the middle act. It seems like the way the story's shaping itself to be like
I was going to say, who made Deus Ex?
Eidos.
Eidos, yeah. Eidos?
Eidos?
Eidos. It's Eidos.
Okay.
Yeah, geez,
I pronounce all sorts of things incorrectly. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, it's it's one of those things like people pronouncing things wrong before there was, the internet to tell you how to pronounce things.
Mm-hmm.
Like how,
Yeah.
it's, everyone pronounces Mario, things like that. It's not a problem.
Lucas Arts.
Lucas,
No.
it's pretty hard to mispronounce Lucas Arts.
I know.
Yeah. So what else? Sorry, I forgot your list.
More Dark Souls.
More
I
Dark
guess.
Souls. Have you played the DLC?
Yes. Oh, it's way better than like the main game, I would say.
Well, you're talking about Dark Souls 2.
Dark
of
Souls
course.
2, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard the DLC kind of makes the rest of the game look a bit like crap.
It does, because it brings back all the good stuff that made the first game better, and like adds on top of that. Like, there's all sorts of like puzzles, and I was actually like in the middle of like doing Ocarina of Time when I picked it back up, and I'm like, I'm going to do that Dark Souls DLC, and I'm like, oh my god, this is a Zelda dungeon. It was kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Like, there's like these panels you can shoot with you have to shoot with like a bow and arrow or something to like activate it, and it just reminded me of Zelda. I'm like, this is a Zelda dungeon, and then you just find this giant pit that you're like, how am I gonna get down there? That's a maze. And then when you get down there finally, there's a boss, and then if you fail, you have to go all the way back up to the like top again. And then I realized, like, after I was done, I'm like, oh crap, I missed a bonfire somehow in that like crazy chasm. There's like a hidden door, and like there's no clues to this bonfire whatsoever. You just have to be hitting A at the wall for a while in this random location. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as for me, since we're going to talk about PT a little bit later here,
Mm-hmm.
I finally finished Metal Gear Solid 4, and I'm almost done with Revengeance, as the listeners already know from part 1 here. I won't go too deep into it, since I've already said pretty much everything. John and I were talking about it for a good deal of time. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. As I was telling John, I was a little disappointed in the Shadow Moses act.
Really?
Just because, weren't able to explore as much as I wanted to.
I agree with you on that. You kind of want to see everything again, but there's no possible way they could have done that.
Well, I mean, yeah, there is. There's totally a possible way. Yeah. I mean, it's not that...
They were probably pressed for time, and there probably was going to be, like, much more fleshed out version. There's parts of the map you can see that you can't even go to, You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, yeah. I mean, they had a lot of stuff there, and I know at the end of the Crying Wolf boss, after I beat her and I was kind of walking around, I ended up like walking into the little the walkway in between the comm towers where Meryl gets shot, and I jumped down and I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. And then the voiceover started with the flashback, and I was like, oh, that is this place. That it was kind of weird because like you never really have. I know I started playing that game, of course, when I was 10, so I never had a great like physical and geographical understanding of like the layout of it, and it kind of made a little bit more sense when it was like that. Crying Wolf was really easy too, by the way. That was disappointingly easy.
Yeah, Crying Wolf was actually really easy. I'm like, oh, I could just use the grenade launcher on her.
No, I mean, like, I tranked her, too. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, like, I used the Nagant and tranked her, and, like, all the frogs around, and it was super... I mean, I guess I was expecting the end, but I ended up getting, like, Sniper Wolf, where you can just hide behind the tree and just pop her a few times, and you're done.
Yeah, when I was watching my friend Andrew do it, he, like, didn't seem to have any problem with it either. It seems to be a generally an easy boss fight.
Yeah, I mean, I did get I did get trampled a few times, but I don't think I used any like health items or anything like that. I got stuck a few times with like the frogs kind of coming in and like, they kept waking up because I play, of course, try not to kill people. But yeah, it was a little disappointing, honestly. I actually liked Raging Ravens better because. It was more of like a challenge to, like, it was more of a timing sort of thing to snipe her, where Crying Wolf is just like, I have my thing on, I have the thermal on. It's like, oh, there she, it's like she pops out, and it's like, oh, there she is, pop, and it was really simple. It was really simple. I was a little disappointed in it, but fun game overall. The ending still doesn't really make much sense to me, but it's still, I liked it better the second time, honestly. A little less emotional, as I was telling John, because of course I knew Snake didn't die, but it was good. It was a fun time. Beat it in 16 hours. I got the code name for headshots because I was tranking people. But yeah, I did not too bad for the first time. I feel like if I played through a second time, I do a lot better and get a lot less alerts. But that was just because of the amount of times that I was just sort of getting used to like when people would react and like when they wouldn't react, and like some of the level design's a little cramped in some areas where you like have you have to like stop the battle. Like some places like you have to stop the battle, and some places like you can't, and it's just kind of confusing of like where you can and where you can't, and so I got a little confused on some of those, and that would cause me to get alerts because I'd basically run into a never-ending stream of enemies, like the mansion in the second act, the second chapter, act, whatever it is, because like I was running around that place and I kept tranking people, and then it was just like more people would keep showing up, and I was like, oh, I just have to find the place, gotcha. But yeah, then I started Revengeance. I'm pretty sure I'm on the end boss. I don't remember if John told me yes or no on it, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm on the end boss just because of the way things go. But it's a platinum game, so you never know where it could go from here. I'm pretty much out of bad guys to kill though, so I don't think it's going to go any further. But there's always that chance that it could go a little further.
I'm amazed you've avoided spoilers because I know who the last boss is, and I haven't even
Oh,
played it.
is the last boss the senator?
I'm not gonna tell you.
You're not going to tell me?
I'm not gonna tell you.
I'm on the last boss right now. I'm pretty sure. I mean, he gets super duper jacked up, and you're trying to make me think it's someone else, and it's totally him. Don't do this. I know Platinum games pretty well, and it's you have the giant robot fight, and then he pops out, and you're like, oh, that's no big deal, and then it's just like something even bigger and greater. But yeah, it's a real fun game. You have to get down the parrying system, like John said a few episodes back. Once you do that, like you can like, it's a lot of pattern learning, so it's a bit like Dark Souls, I guess, in that aspect.
Yeah, a little bit more like Ninja Gaiden, probably.
Yeah, it's a little more hectic. But it's just fun to kind of go up to stuff and just cut it into tiny little pieces. That's always good. Some of the enemies, like they do the whole thing of of beat 'em ups where it's like, in the first level this guy's a boss, and then by like the third level he's back as a regular enemy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and they do that a few times. The actual like bosses aren't like, they don't show up. Like they kind of show up again, but it's not like they're not like everyday enemies kind of thing. But there's like some of the giant robots obviously are easier to put in, more than one time. But it was the design of the enemies is really cool. The combat's really fun and kind of it's energetic and kind of hyper. But you get to cut everything to pieces pretty much. Like you can just beat a dude up until his arm starts glowing, and then you like cut his arm off, and he like kind of limps around a little bit, and he's like, well, that's not gonna stop me, and he starts like shouldering into you and like drop kicking you, and then you beat him up some more, and then eventually you can just cut him into tiny pieces. It's great.
Is it like the first boss fight, Metal Gear Ray or something?
We're talking like 5 minutes into the game, you're fighting a Metal Gear Ray. Like,
that's awesome.
Like it is not as far into the game as anyone would expect, and it's fantastic actually. Like you you are barely into the game, and it's just like a ray jumps out of the water like in front of you, and you're like, oh, so we're going here already. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. I didn't think, it's great. And
obviously it's like really over the top in the story, but I mean, like, how's that compared to like Kojima's over the top?
It's like it fits Raiden's character and like the universe that he's in now more, because it's kind of like sort of a more like it's more anime, I guess you could say, like sort of more like Kojima is very, very into like American action movies, obviously, from Metal Gear Solid, and that comes through a lot. What?
He's in love with the West.
Yeah. I mean, he knows stuff about us that we don't, like Red Cell. That's why he made Dead Cell, because it's a real thing that pretty much happened.
Yeah.
But it's very much a game made by Japanese guys. There's still some pretty good stuff about like. There's been some political stuff towards the end that's actually been pretty good. I mean, it's a little ham-fisted because it's coming from guys with giant swords and robot bodies, but it's still they do kind of like a critique of the American politics. It's not bad. It's a cool little message they send across, I guess. But where was I going with that? I guess it's not as. It's a little more zany than Metal Gear Solid tends to be. Metal Gear Solid tends to be like a mix between like Die Hard and I don't know, just some serious action, like in a more serious action movie.
Escape from New York.
No, that's not serious at all. Where there's kind of some goofy stuff that goes on, but it's largely a serious sort of like. There are people, dying out there.
It's serious overtones with over-the-top action.
Yeah, pretty much. Where this is, you're fighting giant robots and like running through downtown Denver, and Sunny is in it, and she's in charge of a like a NASA sort of split off, and It's insane. All of it's a little insane, but it fits. It's sort of like it fits the gameplay, I guess is what I'll say. You have a lot of, like in Metal Gear Solid, it's a little slower paced, both gameplay wise. You have to kind of make deliberate moves and to try to not get caught. Whereas this, it's just kind of like. You can do that, you can sneak up on some people, but really you can just kind of jump into the fray and just cut people to pieces. So, I mean, it fits more the tone of the gameplay, and it fits very well with the game itself.
And it's canon.
Yes, it is, apparently.
Apparently. And Portable Ops is not.
Which, I mean, Portable Ops doesn't really do anything that really, like having played through Portable Ops, the game, not great. It's not bad. It's not great. I figured out a trick that you could just pile bodies around one of your teammates that was in a cardboard box, and then you could recruit all of them at the same time. And that helped me like clear rooms and like get a bunch of recruits and stuff. And then I just cheated and got all the like SIGINT and Paramedic and Ava and Ocelot and all the guys that are important. Gene, I think I got to, who's like the M boss, and it made the game a lot easier. And then I cheated on the last level. You have to like hold up guards that are like these really, really good like soldiers. They're like Foxhound members, and they're Foxhound members, and like you have to like interrogate them, and they like give you some cryptic clue to where they hid the frequency you have to call to unlock a door, and it's just. I just went online to GameFAQs and found the frequencies because I was like, I don't feel like doing this. I don't have that much invested in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, but like the story doesn't really go any place like too bad. It's not dumb. It's not great by any means, but I mean, it's kind of interesting start to Campbell and Snake. But then, or I guess Big Boss technically, but and it was kind of cool to see sort of them start to follow Big Boss, as a like a hero soldier, which I presume they start to do in Peace Walker as well. But that's next on my list after Revengeance. But yeah, I would think you should play Revengeance.
I think I should.
If you can get the parrying down, the game's easy as hell. And I mean, it's not it's not shameful to end up dying in that game.
Yeah.
Because I did it a few times. I just finished the fight with Jetstream Sam, and he kicked my ass the first time. Then I learned his move patterns, and
You think you're going to get the DLC?
Oh, it was free. I already got it.
Oh, it was free? Oh, crap.
Yeah, it was free for like a week or two, so I downloaded it because I knew I was going to buy the game. I don't think I even had the game at that point, but I knew I was going to buy it eventually, and so yeah, I got the. I think it's a Jetstream Sam thing, and I think Blade Wolf thing.
Yeah.
Which is cool. The fight for Jetstream Sam's a little underwhelming. John and I talked about this a little bit, but it's kind of like a regular sort of fight with any of the other characters. I mean, it's just a lot of, as I said, a lot of pattern memorization, which is kind of underwhelming. And it's kind of disappointing because he was a pretty cool character. They didn't really do too much with him, but he was still a cool character.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's Revengeance. Go play it, Nick.
Okay. Done.
You have a PS3, you might as well.
Yeah.
There's not much else on there. So, you said earlier you played PT.
Yeah, I did.
And so, first what I want to bring to the table is the new Fatal Frame game is coming out, I think this year.
Never played Fatal Frame. Sorry.
Fatal Frame is of course, the original is labeled as one of the scariest video games of all time. And having played it, not beaten it, because it was just, I don't know, I was losing track of what was going on in the story, little that there was. It did some really good stuff. It was a little too Japanese for me, I think, is mostly what it was. Like, someone came out of a well, some weird ghosts and stuff in a pagoda, and, just weird stuff like that. But that was really good. But yeah, the new one's coming out. I really should have sent you this beforehand. We got to get better with this this thing. But yeah, I mean, it looks really good. Like design, like it's for the Wii U, but it looks really good, like graphically. Like it's really really good looking, and part of the thing that's always worked for Fatal Frame is like the visuals. Like it looks very much like a Japanese style horror movie, like throughout the entire thing. And the whole thing is, of course, like you're pretty much helpless except for this camera, and it's a good it's a lot more survival horror than a lot of survival horror has been recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it I mean, you still have like film and stuff that's like basically ammo, but it's definitely a lot more survival horror because you're helpless pretty much except for this one weapon that still doesn't kill everything instantly. So,
well, in PT you have no weapons.
You have no weapons. You just amnesia around.
Yeah, it was supposed to it was inspired off of like indie games like that, I guess, and I didn't hear about it until like 3 days after it happened, I guess, and all I heard was like new Silent Hill, Kojima. I'm like you messaged me. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, whatever.
You're like, what the hell
I was on
is
vacation.
this?
I was on vacation, so I was like, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Whatever. I come back and I'm like, oh, I just keep hearing about it. I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll check it out, see what's going on. Like, I've never played a Silent Hill game in my life, and I checked this thing out. And I'm like, I don't know if I like horror games or not. Like, I was telling my girlfriend, like, I don't know, I'll try it. And then 5 minutes in, I'm like, I'm legitimately scared.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty scary. What do you like? Were you actually frightened?
Yeah, legitimately. I actually freaked out and screamed a little bit. There's one jump scare, just only one though, but I did freak out. And then the rest of it is just psychological and screwing with your head, making you have all these like feelings you wouldn't normally have, and it's really cool actually. And I can't wait for the whole game now.
See, that really makes me smile, because that's Silent Hill. It was the atmospheric horror, like it wasn't, like, oh my gosh, all these horrible things are going on. It was, what the fuck is going on? This is terrifying. Like, it was the gray area between understanding and like confusion of like what is going on. Like, things are recognizable, but you're not sure what you're actually looking at, and like stuff like that. It's great.
Well, the whole thing just takes place in one hallway.
Oh, really?
Just one hallway, and like it's just it's pretty much like a loop, and you have to solve a puzzle through each loop. And while you're solving those puzzles, you're like scared out of your mind because you don't know what's going to happen to you each time.
Is there like monsters?
One.
There's one?
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers. Presumably you don't see it coming because it's a horror game, but
you don't see it coming. But it's like it builds up, and it makes you more scared each time, and like it really gets to you because it got to me.
See, and I mean, everyone's of course excited for the names that have popped up with it.
Yeah, like I didn't finish it, but I was like I was so frustrated at the end, I just gave up because I looked up even how to beat it or whatever, and I tried it and it didn't work. But anyway, I just looked it up on YouTube, and I saw the actual trailer, and I'm like, yeah, if I actually like was like the first person to do this and I saw that, I would freak out and jump for joy.
Yeah, I mean, like, you just throw the words Silent Hill, Hideo Kojima, and Guillermo del Toro together, and it's like, what? What are you talking about? That is insane. But like, if they play to all their strengths, it's a really good combination, actually. Like, you got the creature design and like horror movie chops of Guillermo del Toro, and then you got kind of like the off the walls sort of like make you think good with like environments and story writing, like sort of off the wall story writing of Kojima, and then like also Kojima's ability like to do the crazy like fourth wall breaking stuff, because like
there was a bunch of that in PT.
I imagine there was. I mean, that's how you sort of get like that's how you can do a really good interactive horror game. A lot of the original Silent Hill was just kind of like character immersion. Like they did so well with, like, at least with number 2, they did so well with the characters that like you were so engrossed in the story that like everything around it was like so horrifying and grotesque that's where the atmosphere came from, is like these characters in danger. But like Kojima, like, he's good with characters too. I mean, like, even in like a crazy sort of, even bad dialogue writing aside, like you still didn't want like Raiden to die, you still didn't want Snake to die, didn't want any of that stuff to happen, and if they play to their strengths, which I imagine they will, then I really, really think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I have a question, because since this is all new to me. Like, I've never played a single Silent Hill game, and now I'm going to have to. Is Silent Hill like a location?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Silent Hill is a town.
Okay.
The area that is quote unquote Silent Hill in the games is questionable whether it's a real place or not.
Okay. Well, I think the reason I'm just guessing in my head the reasoning it's called Silent Hills, not just that it's the 5th Silent Hill game and the S makes a 5. I think it's also probably a departure, maybe. Like, maybe you don't even, like, Silent Hill probably isn't even mentioned or anything. I'm just guessing.
Like, I mean, it's one of those things like The Room, Silent Hill 4 The Room started out as like a completely different game, and then they just sort of sold, they sold it to, I don't know if they sold it to Konami, or I forget what the exact history of it is, but they shoehorned in Silent Hill, so it's a completely like different sort of thing. But
yeah,
I don't think they'll not involve Silent Hill.
Yeah.
I think maybe they'll expand on it like they tried to do in some of the newer ones, but kind of failed horribly.
Or it could just be a straight up reboot.
I doubt it's going to be a reboot. I mean, there's nothing to reboot. The only connecting storylines were 1 and 3, and they were pretty unrelated. Like they were relatively unrelated, except for the main characters. Like number 1 is about Harry Mason, like trying to find I forget exactly. Like I haven't played the beginning in a while, but if what I remember from the movie at least, which hopefully nobody's a big Silent Hill fan that listens to us, because they'll probably get murdered. But in the movie, like they're going because his daughter, or like her daughter in the movie, Harry's is a female character in the movie, but the main character's daughter has like dreams about Silent Hill, and that's why they're going to this place. In the second one, it's Donald Sutherland. Not Donald Sutherland. That's the guy from. That's the guy from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. James Sutherland. Him. He gets a letter from his dead wife that says "Meet me in Silent Hill," and it's a completely different story. Like it's the same environment. Like it's still Silent Hill, but it's a completely different environment. The idea of Silent Hill is it's a purgatory-ish sort of place that sort of like dips into hell. And it's sort of like a personal hell sort of thing.
That totally fits with PT.
Yeah, I imagine it does. Yeah, I know you don't know too much about what's really gone on with Silent Hill recently, but it's gotten a lot of the Team Silent kind of fell apart with people like changing teams, and I don't know the full history. That's not my expertise, but there's plenty of stuff out there, of course. But they moved to a bunch of American producers and developers, and they've not been very good. Silent Hill's fallen on hard times recently. Downpour was a train wreck that didn't make any sense. Well, it didn't make very good sense, at least. Wasn't very scary. The enemies were just kind of like dude with kind of creepy face and chick with kind of creepy face, and then awkward bony monster, and like that was the two. Those were the monsters, and it was just pathetic. I mean, like it wasn't a good try at all. They had some maybe okay characters and a few good ideas in it, but nothing really well executed. And then Homecoming was, hey, I have an idea. The original Silent Hill is partially based on Jacob's Ladder, so let's just rip off Jacob's Ladder entirely. Because Jacob's Ladder, of course, is about a Vietnam vet that comes back, and he starts kind of having weird flashbacks, and then also he's unsure about like what's the reality, and he goes kind of crazy, and there's something about a kid needing to be saved, and then Homecoming is about a war vet that comes back with some PTSD and stuff, and kind of has some flashbacks, I think, and then he starts seeing things, and then there's also a kid that needs to be saved. Like they literally steal the ones like the best scene from Jacob's Ladder and do it terribly. Like,
wow.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. Like, there's like I watched the Two Best Friends LP of it, and
I'm gonna check that out.
and it's honestly, I wouldn't. It's not. I mean, they kind of make it a little entertaining, but
well, that's what I mean. I love that when they play stuff that's really bad, like they're Beyond Two Souls.
and Pat loves Silent Hill. Pat is a huge Silent Hill fan, so it just like hurts him to play these games. It's great.
I was listening to their Best Friends cast, and like Pat was gushing about PT and stuff. So
yeah, but they. But they were playing it, and like they were talking about some of the designs of it, and like the one is pretty cool. It's like a China doll like spider person thing, which is pretty cool, And there's like one other one there, I forget what it is, but like other than that, like they just rip off entirely Jacob's Ladder, and it's just embarrassing, is really what it is. Like it's not that scary, and they apparently decided that, like, oh, he's an army guy, he knows how to fight, so they put in, like, a combat system,
Ew.
and it's, like, really, really bad. It's terrible. It's terrible. But there's hope around the corner, apparently.
Yeah, I just can't believe Kojima did it again. He fooled us again with a fake studio.
And thank you, Fox Engine.
And a fake title. Except this time it was playable, which is awesome. That is so cool. The first playable teaser.
Yep.
That's so freaking cool.
Thanks, Fox Engine.
Thanks, Fox Engine.
Thumbs up.
Way to go.
Have you not played Deja Vu in
Still haven't.
Ground
No,
Zeroes?
I'm still trying to get the
See, it's funny because I've said that to John
patches.
too, and neither of you have played. Like, the Thanks Fox Engine is a reference to the ending of Deja Vu, which I've seen because I didn't want to ruin the story. Like, I know the spoilers for the story for Ground Zeroes, but I haven't seen them, and that's different in my mind. But like, I didn't care about the two side missions, so I ended up watching them, and like there's a someone thanks Fox Engine, and it's just like them patting themselves on the back. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's funny. I'm just trying to get all the patches without having to look at a guide.
Yeah.
So I get more time out of it, you know.
Yeah. How did Norman Reedus do? Did he do anything?
No, just facial capture probably.
Just facial capture for the ending.
Yeah, that also explains that those pictures weren't just him hanging out with Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus. Like he was just chilling with them, you know.
I'm sure it's a bit of that. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure it was a bit of like he's probably seen some of Del Toro's movies and was like, hey, I get to hang out with him a bit too, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to hang out with Guillermo del Toro. I don't know how well he speaks English, but I still think it'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember Charlie Day talking about him, like them going to get donuts and like beer and stuff, and for Pacific Rim, because like everyone else had to be in a bunch of like good shape, and then like him and Guillermo del Toro would go out and get beer and hang out. That'd be great to be like, what'd you do today? Hang out with Guillermo del Toro, got a little drunk, you know.
Had some donuts.
Yeah.
Got a little fat.
Have you seen a lot of Guillermo del Toro's movies other than like Hellboy?
Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, I think those are the only ones I've seen.
The Orphanage is good if you're okay with subtitle movies. That one is something a little different than what you'd expect.
Well, Pan's Labyrinth was a subtitle movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. What else has he done? I mean, obviously the Hellboy movies, which honestly I like. I like the character design and all that stuff, but most of the stuff I can take or leave. I'm not super into them or anything like that.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman's pretty good in them. That's,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want him to go somewhere though. But yeah. So you think you're gonna try to play more horror games now?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm like into it now.
Yeah. Have you played Dead Space?
No.
Dead Space 1 is a lot more survival horror than anything else. Apparently there are rumors, or confirmed rumors, I don't even remember, that they're going to remake the original Resident Evil. So.
Oh yeah, for next gen.
Yep.
But not for Wii U.
Which is weird, but
it is really weird.
Whatever. They're going to remake, so it'll be a remake.
The third remake.
Yeah. I mean, I have Silent Hill 1 and 2 and Fatal Frame 1 and 2. I have Outlast on Steam as well.
Oh yeah, I have Outlast on my PS4, so I should probably check that out.
Yeah, I never got around to playing that one. Obviously,
I think after PT, nothing's going to be as scary. I just have a feeling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a little bit longer. I saw some stuff on it. I think we're going back to Two Best Friends again. They did it in their shitstorm of scariness. I believe they did.
The shittening.
I wasn't too impressed with it. I bought it though. Whatever. It was cheap, and I like horror things.
I know you do.
Yeah, I do. I love it. I'm already amassing my list of horror movies this year for October. I've got, I think, 16 right now, and I've decided I'm going to go with like keywords. One of the or like themes for a few of the movies. One of them is sequels for movie franchises that probably shouldn't exist. And that's a little bit. I'm going to use kind of both meanings of that both the sequels shouldn't exist or the series itself shouldn't exist. Because I'm going with the Silent Hill sequel, which apparently is fucking awful. And then I'm going with the sequel to Quarantine, which is the American version of REC, which was one of the finest found footage movies I've ever seen. And also is a really good zombie film. But apparently it has absolutely nothing to... Like, Quarantine 1 is literally just REC, and then Quarantine 2 is, like, on an airplane and, like, completely different.
What?
So, apparently
I've seen Quarantine.
Apparently it's really good. Like, apparently number 2 is really good, but, like, I wouldn't be able to watch Quarantine just because I've seen REC, and I love that movie. It's so good. I watched that in broad daylight, and I felt like I was going to shit myself. It was terrifying. Like, I imagine the Quarantine's pretty much just shot for shot. Like, a lot of at least the important stuff is shot for shot, and I know that just because of all the important stuff that's in the trailer. I mean, like, they show her being dragged away, and all that stuff, and spoilers for like a 10-year-old movie. Does the monster at the end vomit the thing into her mouth?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? How's the movie end? I'm actually curious how the movie ends.
I really don't remember. Like, I've seen
remember?
It was a while ago.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not even sure if I finished it.
Oh, probably not. There actually can't. The number 2's okay. Number 3. I'm talking about REC. Number 3 I have not seen, but they dropped the found footage thing, and it looks to be just sort of like a dark comedy slasher, because there's like a bride running around covered in blood with a chainsaw, and I'm just like,
Nice.
Yeah, that's probably pretty funny. But they're coming out with a 4th one, I guess. I don't know where they're gonna go with it from there. But yeah, that's one of the... Oh, House of the Dead 2 is another one I'm gonna watch. Because I watched House of the Dead 1 a few years ago for my October movie watching spree, and it was delightfully awful. It was pretty terrible. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's a UA Ball one, and oh my gosh, is that bad? It was really bad. Nobody was named G. Like, it wasn't about House of the Dead. It was just a bunch of people with guns shooting zombies, and it's just like, oh, do something better. But then I've also got a bunch of Stephen King movies lined up, because I've never seen a lot of Stephen King's movies.
I love Stephen King.
I've never really read any of his stuff, honestly. I've seen The Shining and Rose Red.
Have you seen 1408?
I have not, but that was one I was going to add to the list.
That's a really good one, actually.
My fiance actually told me that was a Stephen King one, and I went, oh.
Yeah.
Because that's like Samuel L. Jackson and
John Cusack.
Who's
in everything.
Which, not my pick for a horror movie, that's for sure. That's not what I would expect.
It's not really a horror movie as much as it is like a psychological thriller.
Yeah. I've heard actually what brought that up that my fiance was talking about it was me explaining Silent Hill: The Room to her. So I was hoping maybe that was semi-similar to that. But
I think it is.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I've never seen, like, Carrie, I've never seen Christine, I've never seen Cujo. Like, I've never seen any of those, which is ridiculous, right? Like,
I haven't seen those either, so it's fine.
Well, I mean, but, like, I watch a lot of horror movies, and I just never... I mean, like, I hadn't seen Jaws until, like, 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. I miss a lot of the good ones. I don't know how that works, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so that's yeah. Well, I guess that's all we have to talk about this week. Hopefully, we'll be able to do these more regularly now that we all have sort of normal schedules again.
And more togetherly.
Yeah. John had to do some fantasy football thing with GameFAQs So I don't know.
Okay.
Replace him with Canadians. That's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.